We're going to try to answer these questions, these assignment questions in this video. So the first one, Caroline invested $1,500 today in a fund that earns 8% annually. To what amount will the investment grow in 3 years? So our first question, is this a single sum or an annuity? So we have a single amount today, and we want to know the single amount 3 years from now. So this would be a single sum. Do we need the present value or do we need the future value? Well, we have the present value, $1,500 today. We want to know what it's going to be in 3 years. So it's the future value that we need to know. So I am going to use, I can't easily draw a timeline here, but if you did a timeline, you would have the PV is 1,500 and then a line. The FV would have a question mark. The I on the top would be 8%. And the N on the bottom would be 3 years. Then from there, we would do we need the FV. So let's, the FV equals the opposite, PV, times table 1. Okay, so there is our formula. And so now we can put in whatever numbers that we know. So we don't know the FV, so we have FV equals. We do know the PV is 1,500, and we're going to multiply that times the table 1 factor. Okay, so now we need to take a look at table 1, and we need to find the 8% and 3 years. Here are the tables from the back of your book in the time value of money module. Okay, here's table 1, future value of 1. Okay, and we need 8%. So we've got 1.5 through 7% on this section. So we need to go down. And here we have from 8 to 18%. We're going to use the 8%, and that was 3 years. So that's 1.259712. 1.259712. Okay, and so now we're going to put that in our calculator, 1,500 times 1.259712, and we get 18.89 and 56 cents, so that would round up to 18.90. Okay, so that would be our answer for this first one. She would put 1,500 in today, and then she'd have 18.90 in 3 years. Okay, so let's take a look at the next one. What is the future value of $7,000 at the end of 5 years at 8% interest? Okay, So we want to know the future value. We've got 7,000 now at the end of 5 years and 8% interest. So we draw our timeline. PV is 7,000, I is 8%, N is 5 years, and the FV is the question mark. So again, we have FV equals PV times table 1. Okay, and so that's going to be FV equals 7,000 times table 1. All right, so let's take a look at table 1. Okay, and we had, let's see, that was 8% and 5 years. So again, we go down the 8%. We're only going to go, we're going to the 5 years, 1.469328. Okay, so we go to the calculator. We got 7,000 times 1.469328, and that's 10,285. And that's our answer for that one. All right, so here we have what is the present value of 7,000 due 8 years if it's discounted at an 11% rate. Okay, so here it's asking us what is the present value. So the present value is going to have the question mark. The future value is the 7,000. It's due 8 years from now, so N equals 8 and I equals 11%. So here we want the PV and we have the PV equals the opposite FV, and this will be table 3. Okay, so now we need to look up table 3 for 8 years and 11%. Okay, here we do not have an 11%. So we're going to go halfway between the 10 and the 12%. Okay, and that was 8 years. So we go across the 8-year row. Okay, and we have, I'm going to put this in the calculator, 2.143589. And I'm going to add what's on the 12% row, 2.4758. 0.5963. And then I'm going to take that result, divide it by 2 to get the average. It's 2.310. Okay, 2.310. Okay, so we're going to take 7,000 times 2.310, and that's 16,170. Oops, I'm sorry, that is wrong. So you should always ask yourself when you're doing that, because I was looking at table 1. So you always ask yourself when you're doing this, if the present value number that you get is more than the future value, something is wrong. And that's what I noticed. I said, what? Present value is 16,000 and the future value is 7,000? That's wrong. Okay, and then I realized that I was still in, this is still table 1. I need table 3. Okay, present value of 1. Then I'm going to go down, and again, I'll have to go to the 8 and go across. I'm going to add what's in the 10% column. So that is 0.466507, and add that to what's in the 12% column, which is 0.403883, and then divide that result by 2 to get the halfway point. So that's 0.4352, 0.4352. Okay, so now let's give this another go. We got 7,000 times 0.4352. Now my present value is less than my future value, so I feel a lot more comfortable. That's 2464. Okay. Okay, so here we are at the 4th problem, and Tanya needs 10,000 in 4 years to use as a down payment on a house. So she needs 10,000 in the future. Okay, what amount must she invest today? So what is the present value if her investment earns 10%? So we got 10% in 4 years. Again, it's the present value that we need. So we have PV equals the opposite, FV, times table 3. And we have PV equals 10,000 times table 3. Okay, so let's take a look at table 3, and we want 10% interest and 4 years. Okay, so here's our 10% interest. We go down to 4 years, 0.683013. 683013. Okay, so now we plug that into our calculator. We have 10,000 times 0.683013 3013, and that gives us 6830 as our answer. Okay, so she needs to put 6830 in now, and then she waits for 4 years, and she would have the 10,000 sitting there, assuming that she did get 10% every year. So there are our answers to the TMV Part 1 problems.